Right, hopefully that's working. I have had one of those days where technology has failed me all day. Um, it's been yeah, one of those. I won't go into it, but you can imagine. Um, yeah, so it's a miracle that I'm live. I'm having to do it in here, which isn't ideal, but it's fine for an informal chat and a bit of a catch up. And I'll try and answer some questions. We'll see how it goes. Sadly, I'm not even going to be able to show you the app in this one. If you haven't seen the stream on this channel from before, you can go back and look at that. Yeah, as I said, it's been one of those days. So let's quickly say hello and let a few people come in, and then we will kick off. If you've got any questions, there's no such thing as a stupid question. You can put them in the chat and I'll get onto them. There was some from the Facebook group. I can touch on those. And can someone just confirm you can see and hear me? Okay. I'll say some hellos while we get that confirmed. Flipping Maggie. Good evening. Hope there is some good news re the launch. Well, we can get into that. Brummy Time Lord, hello. And Belinda, Peter, hello. Derek, still enjoying your updates from the shed. Yeah, Matthew sounds fine. Good. Can see and hear you. Well, there we go. Something's worked today. Yeah. Tech fails all day long. Hello, Diane. Hello, Lee. Thank you for being a long-time subscriber. So, yeah, I thought it was about time because I know I've been rather quiet since we had the meetup and we were able to show the app and it working. Progress hasn't stopped. It has carried on. We have a couple of fixes still to do, but we have a finished app. I know that sounds like I'm saying it's finished and it's not. That's kind of where we're at all the time. But we are at a point where we know we need to wrap this thing up and launch it, and then we carry on improving it after the point. But what I wanted to do today, there were lots of people that had questions that I can just talk about and answer, hopefully. So that's what we're going to do. So that's a few hellos. You can see and hear me. So on the Facebook page, what did we have? And yeah, please put some questions in the chat if you have them. Gail Carruthers asked, will it include boot sales, jumble sales, etc.? On launch, it is going to have the 3 categories that we've shared before. Events, which are yard sale events. And we now have the capability that you could put a jumble sale in there. We need to do some tweaks to that, but that is classed as an event. It's a time-sensitive one-off event. Charity shops, which will be permanent pins, and car boot sales, which will be permanent pins, all pinned on this nationwide map that you can all find. And you can also add them as well. So Gail, yes to boot sales, jumble sales. We may have to, jumble sales may have to be update 1. But at the moment you could put a jumble sale on. It would essentially be a 1 stall yard sale. Right. Other questions from the Facebook page. Let's do another one and then I'll pop back to the chat. Angela asked, is there any chance you could include an indication of whether it's disabled stroke wheelchair friendly? That's a really good suggestion. Currently, that's not a field we have for permanent locations such as charities and boot sales, but it wouldn't be hard to implement that. It won't be there for launch because that would just be adding more fixes to delay it. But I see no reason why we couldn't add that as another field. So when people are adding charities or people are updating charity information, there would be a field there where it could even be a tick box, disabled or wheelchair access on or off. Yes, Angela, very doable. Will not be there for launch. We are stopping adding in things. to delay the launch even further. But I like the idea a lot, and I think we could easily implement that. Right, let me come back to the chat. Oh, there is Gail. There you go. Hello. Right, let's scroll back, see if I've missed anything quick. Derek, what's Derek saying? Is it Android at launch and Apple later, or both at the same time? Also, any thoughts on a web browser version, or just keep it to the app? Okay, I always wanted it to be both Apple and Android for launch, but I think I've been convinced that we need to get the Android out, get people on it, get people using it, and whilst we're gaining all that feedback, we will be working on the conversion to Apple. So I think at this moment in time, we are pushing to get the Google out, the Android, and then Apple will follow. Any thoughts on a web browser version? No. We are going to try very hard to keep it all in app. There are some advantages maybe of having a version on the web, but it's not how we've built this. So no plans to do it that way at all at the minute. Matthew, hello. Will you have to pay to put the app in both app stores? There's costs involved with the whole thing, but there's almost no point for what we want to achieve on just having it on one platform. So we have to do both. Because you think about it, if you create an event, which I'm hoping people will do, create their own yard sale event in your village, in your town, and promote it locally and say, just download the free app and add your stall, and you can then manage that, your own stalls, etc. You don't want to promote that you've created an event and then only Apple users are able to add their stalls or download the app at all, or only Android. So we need this to be on both platforms. Otherwise, we're excluding a huge chunk of society, and we want everybody to be able to use it and benefit from it. Let's move on to Michelle. Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm looking forward to the release. So am I. So I can find local events to me and also be able to advertise my own jumble trails that I run in Bedford. Yes. Oh, Michelle, if only we were there. I know I've said this before, but we underestimated the scale of the project and the intricacies of this. So it has taken a lot longer. Also, I'm a very busy person. My business partner is a very busy person. We have been doing this in our spare time, and we underestimated how much time we actually needed to get it done and get it finished and get it running as we intended. But yes, I am with you, Michelle. I cannot wait to be able to set up my own events within the app, and you will be able to do the same. It will be great. There will be teething problems. I'm just going to put out there as well. Once we launch, expect there to be niggles and issues. If you do find any on launch, that's where the Facebook page comes into its own. You can make a post on there and say, this is happening when I do this. Can we sort that out? Because as much as we try to iron out all of the problems, there's no way we're going to launch with it running absolutely smoothly. So we're going to need helpful people like yourself, Michelle, to jump in and use it, find out what's broken. What have we got here? Chris says Android maintained its position as the leading mobile operating system at 71. Is it 71 now? Okay. So we've gone the right way round in that sense, in that we're going to get 71.8% of the market on launch. And then us poor Apple users will have to wait for the conversion. But that's good to know in a way that at least we've gone for the user base that's larger. Right, I'll just read another one. Hey, Gadget Man, hello, good to see you. Says, I've never seen a charity shop that isn't wheelchair friendly, as they are usually at street level without steps. Boot sales tend to be in a flat open space like a field, so are wheelchair friendly. Yeah, interesting. I guess it's still worth potentially adding that as a tick box. I guess with boot sales, a lot of it depends on weather, because you're going to sink into the ground if it's even vaguely wet. But yeah, it's certainly something to think about. I'm going to just take one more from the side chat, and then I'll go back to the Facebook group. There's a few more questions people posted. Vintage Views says, finding any information about car boots is a nightmare. Yes, it is, which was why we added that very early on, because I found it frustrating finding old, obsolete boot sale data on the internet, contradicting information on Facebook pages and websites for the same boot sale. So that is something we really want to achieve, a place where people can go and 9 times out of 10 you will get up to date and correct information, and ideally a contact number, so you can just open up the page for a boot sale, click the contact number, and usually they have like a recorded message, we are on tomorrow at this time, or whatever it is. So you'll have instant access for that. Plus, when you add in the favorite option, so you could go through and just favorite all your boot sales and have them there in your contacts lists, and they will be updating their information on the app, is the dream, right? So it's kept up to date. Once this gains momentum, and the boot sale organizers will hopefully be on top of their own data, keeping that up to date, we'll all have access to updated information. That's the dream. Right, let me dip back to the Facebook page. What other questions did we have? I've linked the Facebook page below. If you don't follow us on there, please do. Samantha Newton asked, is it for all of the UK? I wonder how many charity shops / car boots I don't know about in the Northeast. Yes, it's for all of the UK. We have sites pinned as far up as the Shetland Islands and as far down as Cornwall and the Isle of Wight. We've gone to great lengths to do Northern Ireland. We kept it to the UK to start with, but there's nothing stopping us making this further afield, expanding it out. But we have to limit ourselves, otherwise we'll never get this thing going. So it's UK wide. Once we launch, you will be able to pin pins anywhere across the UK, update the current information that's on there. But yes, it is the entire UK. I wish I could show you it again right now. Some things have changed, but nothing dramatic from the last video. But as I said, the tech gods conspired against me today, so I don't have a version I can show you right now. Leanne had a question on the Facebook page. One thing I've noticed when searching for jumble sale and jumble trail info on Facebook or Google is that full information is not included, such as the postcode. Excuse me. Such as the postcode, actual year, date, and contact info, etc., to check if event is still taking place. Will there be a set criteria of how the information is obtained before putting it on the app? You obviously can't check that info is correct. It's a really good question. It's a really valid question. How do we know that the information that's getting shared on there regarding events is correct? There is a certain amount of legwork we can do. We may go the route of asking for a Facebook page or website to corroborate stuff. Regarding dates and location, it's all map based. So the pin is exactly where it's going to be. There will be a postcode attached to that, obviously, but you can use the app to click on it, and then it will use your, what's it called? Your GPS, your take me there function, and it will guide you there. You'll get a route to take you to it. So that kind of solves that problem. And as for dates, that is a field that has to be filled in. So that will be accessible via the pin. Okay, let me come back Or shall I finish the questions on here? I think that's all we had on here. One more. When will it be available on Apple? Says Claire. As soon as it's come out on Android and we've converted it to Apple. Right, I'm going to scroll down the side chat now. Okay. Would you sell? Would you sell? Oh, hang on. Would you sell the app if a larger company made an offer on it after launch? Well, that's trying to answer a question about something that hasn't happened. I don't know. We need to get an app that's working. I can't focus on anything beyond that. That's a question for way, way, way down the line. I know of 2 that are up steps. Oh, disabled access. Okay, that's interesting. Hello, Limelight Vinci. I'm glad the Android version is out first. Okay, good. Parking info for the boots may be good info. Oh, good to add too, i.e. places not to park. We could potentially just have like an open notes section so you could add useful information, because there could be lots of stuff that we don't even think about. In fact, I think there is already a field where you can just put extra information, so people can add that sort of stuff if they want, potentially. With that, it's a good point. Where do you stop? Where do you stop collecting info? Is too much info? Can you have too much information? I don't know. Belinda saying, no car boots within Bedford town centre now. Unless you're a driver, it's a really bad area for jumble sales, car boots. That's a shame. Yeah, I'd be lost without my car to travel to boot sales, jumble trails. Pete saying, pretty simple to find info about car boots. Type online car boots in your area. Plus, once you find local ones, they all have websites. Yes, as long as it's accurate and kept up to date, that's the fundamental problem. But again, it would be so handy to just have all of that collated in one place, in your pocket with you all the time at a touch of a button. I agree, there is a lot of information out there. And remember, the boot sales and charities is not really the core thing that the app's going to do. That's kind of an added bonus that it's all in one place, in one app. The core thing we want to achieve is to be able to share local events far and wide to anyone who's looking for them and create your events. That's the core thing we're trying to do. The boot sale data and the charity shop data was always an additional nice thing to have. What's this one? On my electric car app, you can add whether the charger is working, etc., and add a date. You could do something similar so people check in, so people can see how busy it was. Yes. We already have the I've been there button, which we may tweak to be validate this location, or so you go to a charity shop and you can just go, I've been there, this is correct, this exists. A kind of yes, this is real in the real world button, right? I've been there. In fact, I've been there would do that, because you can't claim to have been there unless you've been there and gone, yeah, this is a charity shop, like it. So we could have that, and then you could have a verified location check mark when, let's say, 5 independent people have said, yeah, been there, that's correct. That sort of thing would be super easy to implement. See, I'm saying this, and my business partner who does all the tech isn't here to disagree with me. An option to add a photo of the boot sale would be good. Sometimes you want to know if it's a decent size, etc., and be worth visiting. And a pic of it by others would be really useful. Possibly. I don't know how useful that would be, because I know boot sales that sometimes you go and there's one row and it's hardly worth it. Other times of the year, 100+ stalls. So if somebody goes and kind of puts a picture on there and it looks pathetic, that may not give you the right information if you're thinking of going there in August. See what I mean? I don't know how helpful that would be. One of our local car boots is a nightmare to get around, walking, let alone pushing a buggy wheelchair. Yeah, going around in a wheelchair in a muddy field, not a good plan. Pete says, do you find it hard to find jumble sales? Excuse me. Plus time they're on and jumble trails non-existent. Plus lot will not be on this year. We're finding, well, we've moved obviously, so we're kind of learning the ropes up here in Norfolk. We have found a lot of jumble sales, and we found a clear need for a place where they can share them, because some of the promotion for the local village ones around here was almost non-existent, and even on a very small scale, contradictory, right? Within a village and Facebook, a handful of places they were promoting jumble trails. Times were different, start times were different. Not helpful at all. We turned up hours late to one. So if you've got a centralized place where somebody who is running it can post it, yeah, simple. A developer told me that the same app in Android takes 10 times the amount of code than it does in Apple's iOS. So maybe you should have released the app to Apple first. But we are where we are. Who knows? There's many things I would have done differently if I could start again. Date stamp the photo. See, and here we go. And this is what we were like at the beginning. All ideas are good ideas, but throwing them all in at once, and then you know, adding all this functionality and then trying to make it work and trying to make it useful and helpful. Yeah, we need to get the basics out there, working and helpful for people. Then we can start adding all the bells and whistles. Yeah. Oh, let's deviate for a moment. Do you like the new Depeche Mode single? I do, actually. I prefer it way more than most of the stuff on the last album. And it's been received really well. So I'm happy. I'm a bit frustrated that it doesn't seem like they've released a 12-inch vinyl version of it. It's just available to stream. All it is that people don't have the time to organize jumble trails. Really? I think as we get further into the season, they'll start popping up. I think this year could be a bumper year, actually, for certainly for people going to boot sales and wanting to sell their stuff on their doorstep, having their own yard sales or jumble trail events, because we're all feeling the pinch. I know we have found it, you know, with the fuel price rises, cost of living, everybody is feeling it. So being able to sell stuff easily and conveniently, ideally from your doorstep, like a yard sale, would be, I think, yeah, definitely something a lot of people will think about this year that maybe haven't in other years. So I don't know, Pete, maybe later on in the season, when we get into late spring, summer, hopefully there'll be a lot popping up. We shall see. Belinda says a lot of sales are like that here too. I think places such as churches don't want too many people to know about them for some reason. Well, that's crazy. If you're fundraising and you've got a lot of stuff like a church hall full of jumble, we went to a couple the other weekend and they had heaps and heaps of stuff, and they were attended fairly well, but if they were promoted better, they would have had a lot more people through the door paying the 50p entrance fee or whatever it was, and they would have cleared a lot more stuff. So I can't understand any logic of not wanting more people to know about it. That doesn't really make any sense to me. We'll see. But here's the thing. Once this is out there and this is just another tool for them to use, they still don't have to use it. If they don't want to promote, they won't. But giving these charities the option to promote to people directly in an app in their pocket, hopefully they will adopt it. And if they don't want to, they don't have to. What have we got here? Hello, Ashton. Sorry if it's already been asked, but will there be an option to hide or unfavorite boot sales or charity shops? Thinking for situations where you go to one, then think it's not worth going back to. What do we currently have? You can favorite a location. And I know that's not what you're asking. So you can obviously unfavorite it, but then it's just a regular pin on the map again. You can flag a location. Now, forgive me, I can't remember if this has been added at this point or not. For example, when you're going around a jumble trail and you want to go back to a stall later, and there's 100 stalls, we added in put a flag so you can easily navigate back to a stall. I can't remember if we've added the make a note to remind you what the flag's for. I can't remember currently. But you could flag a boot sale. And in an ideal world, put a note saying this was awful for whatever reasons, your opinion, and that could stay active on your map. Yeah. So anyway, we have the flag option and the favorite option currently. I ran a local boot sale before COVID, but stopped due to work commitments and haven't advertised since. I recently started to receive calls saying I am to contact them for them again in March 2023 on Google. Oh, so Google's asking you if it's going live again, are they? Interesting. I know Google put a lot of work into keeping their information up to date. But what we've found when corroborating some of our information with Google, the pins on Google are very often in the wrong place. And there are charities that are showing as open that are long since shut down. There are charities that exist that aren't anywhere on Google and not on Google Maps. And I understand it's a huge task to keep that up to date. What we're trying to do with this is to make it super simple for anybody to report that a shop's not there, to move the pin location and update it, to update information that is shown on the app. And with hopefully many thousands of eyes on the app and on the real world, we can keep it accurate. Come back to me in a year or two and we'll see how that's worked. Does Google just put details on again without checking? Anybody know? If they have a contact for you, they should check periodically with you as the organizer. I know that's how it works with fixed location shops for certain. But you should be able to, if you are the registered event organizer with Google, maybe you can update it or check it yourself. Not sure. Because again, with fixed locations, you can claim a business like a shop, and then you can update your own information. So maybe that's the same with boot sales. Oh, Matthew, if only I could just pluck a date out of the air. Since we shared it at the meetup, we've still been working on a couple of changes, just tweaks. In fact, the tweaks are to do with updating information and adding your own pins. There were some flaws in that we are ironing out. But the app, as shown to various people at the, well, as many people who were interested at the meetup, it was all working and it is still pretty much ready to go. We're just ironing out some bugs and adding in these couple of little things. Jumble sales always advertise around here, plus have to queue up over an hour early. Yeah, we tend to get to a jumble sale about an hour early. We went to one local to us where we now live, and they didn't have the size of queue we were used to, but we still should have been there really at least 40 minutes early. We were quite far back in the queue. But if you watch my recent video, there was so much stuff there. The volume of stuff there. This is where they could have promoted that so much better, I'm sure. It felt like the mad rush, the kind of dealer rush for the first half an hour was done and dusted, and then there was hardly anyone around. But there were boxes and boxes of stuff still unpacked. It was nuts, and they were left with heaps and heaps of stuff. Donald, hello. Welcome to Norfolk. Well, thank you. Norfolk / Norwich, we have some good boot sales around. Yes, I've heard. We're going to enjoy trying them all out in the summer. And our cause, the Salvation Army, got a super charity shop on the Ring Road at the Boundary. Okay, I'm not sure I've tried that one yet. Cape Cod Ken, hello, love the name. Will this app work in the USA? I live in a touristy area with tons of thrift stroke charity shops. In an ideal world, we will get this working, iron out all of the issues, and then expand it into the US. It has the functionality to work over there currently, but we're not going to promote it when we don't have the focus to really push it over there. We're going to have to do this in stages and build up. But ideally, if we can get enough momentum behind it, enough users, and at some point make it start paying for itself with adverts or whatever monetization method we choose, then we can think about going bigger and pushing it into America, Australia, etc. But it's too early to really commit to anything like that. Hello, Chris. A thing that does annoy me on Facebook is that on the very few Garage Trail pages I found, they don't remove old posts. Would the app automatically remove events that have already taken place? Yes, everything is time sensitive. So we've tried to make it as intuitive as possible. So when you're on the main map, I'm sorry I can't show you it right now. You will find a pin. Event pins currently are green, and any that you can see are pending, as in they are in the future or potentially currently active. And you'll be able to click on them and quickly see the date that they are due to happen, etc. And then once the event has run, the event organizer will set a time. So it would be, say, on Saturday from 10 till 4. At the end of that period, the app knows it's time sensitive, the app knows it's finished, and it will drop off the app. So it shouldn't ever be a problem that you will click on an event and it's already passed. That should be impossible. So yes, we've thought about that, and pins are time sensitive. Event pins are time sensitive. Permanent location pins, your charities, your boot sale locations, they just stay permanent until somebody notifies us that they have closed down or stopped operating, and then they'll just be removed permanently. I hope that made sense. Hello, Andy. Hi, Nick, just made it. Yeah, I just made it as well. As I said at the beginning, we've had a technological fail day. So I was lucky to even be live today. Not alive, but live on the internet. Will there be a review part for the car boots or charity shops? This came up early doors and we thought it was a good idea. We have since changed our mind on that. It doesn't mean it's not something we couldn't revisit in the future. But I think it's very it's very personal, isn't it? A review. Somebody could go in a charity shop and whatever it is they're looking for, they didn't have any of, or on that day, the staff weren't helpful, for example, and they leave a stinking review. Whereas you might go in the next day, find a whole load of whatever it is you're into, vinyl, for example. Staff were lovely on that day, and you would want to leave it 5 stars. Opinion-based reviews, I'm not sure how helpful they would be. If the reviews are more factual, this charity doesn't do any clothing. This charity shop doesn't have any media. If it's facts, that's helpful information, that is different. But opinions on how good a charity shop is or how good a boot sale is, it's so dependent on the day, on the person that's reviewing it, what they're looking for. So I'm not sure how helpful it would be. We may revisit that at some point. But again, going back to what we need to focus on, we need to focus on getting it out there, getting the basics working, and then we can find out what would enhance it, what would help, what people want. We're not going to keep adding functionality now because it's taken us this long just to get to this point and it's all working. But yeah, it's an interesting thought, and we have thought long and hard about should that be part of it. As for monetizing it, full stop, that's going to be something further down the line. Once we've got everything ironed out, we've got a user base on there, we'll then start implementing some sort of monetization. I don't think the subscription model for us works because what we want to achieve is not only people like ourselves, resellers who may use this on a daily, certainly on a weekly basis. We want casual users who turn up to a village jumble trail and the organizer says, just download the app and you can wander around all the stalls and the map will be there free of charge. Just download it. Those sort of people, we don't want to put off by saying you've got to pay a $5 to own the app. So we think it needs to be free. You could have a model where it's free for a day, possibly. And then if you want to use it again, maybe you have to pay. But again, I would rather have people using the app on a casual once every 6 months basis, rather than putting them off using it at all. Because I think if we do this right and we become the go-to place to create and share events, so many of our users will be really, really casual. The vast majority probably will be. So then the obvious way of monetizing it is to have adverts running, pop-ups, and perhaps an option to pay a small fee to get rid of the pop-ups for the day. If you're going to be navigating around 100 stalls for a day, I'd pay £1 just to have no adverts popping up, right? So that's probably the route we will take. Okay. How old a phone stroke iOS version have you decided to make it work for? I'm not sure at this moment in time. We'll have to do one of these and get my business partner on, and we can ask those sort of tech questions direct to the man who knows stuff. No, Google, not checking. They just put my details on, but I'm not the contact anymore. I don't even believe it's running anymore, so no volunteers. Just not sure how to get the details taken off. Yeah, so that's a problem. And this is why this old kind of out-of-date, stale information lingers on the internet. At least with the app, if you set up an event, you're in charge of it. You can update that. You can do what you need to do to that. Likewise, with a boot sale, which is a permanent pin, you can update information on that. Anybody can update information. It will be moderated, obviously, otherwise people would just go wild. But yeah, interesting. Dave, hand pink waving. The trouble with reviews is the staff turn around one day, there might be an old bag. and the next someone who is delightful. Exactly, and I'm not sure how helpful that would be. Also, I find with reviews, people tend to be more likely to leave a review if they've had a bad experience than if you go in a charity shop and it's lovely and it's pleasant and you maybe pick up a couple of things. You're not going to write a review. But if you are, if you have a very bad experience, in that moment of rage, you're likely to put a negative review on. At this moment in time, I don't think we're going to go the route of reviews. I'm not sure how helpful it is for what we're doing. Andy, yes, factual is perfect, as I've had local resellers telling me where to go for what I do and found that very helpful. Yeah, well, it may be that we expand the fields within the charity shops and just have a tick box. What do you have in store? Media, clothing. I mean, there are some charity shops that I've been to that are just clothing. Now, currently, for what we sell, we wouldn't bother going there. So that would be useful information. Even if it is just the extra info, fill it in yourself, just type it in, and people could put, this store is clothing only, or we have vinyl and CDs and whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to evolve. How many charity shops are in the app now? Well, I've spent an awful long time updating our data because we started working on the database. It would have been autumn 2 years ago. And a lot of that data was out of date recently. So I've spent many hours. So I had to end up taking off hundreds that had closed down that didn't survive COVID and the data was out of date. But currently we are 7,500 charity shops. Right, Derek says, how about for the future, see, yes, for the future, a way for stalls to advertise their stalls on the app for that boot sale. A way for stalls? Oh, okay, stall holders at boot sales. Got a load of vinyl here today. Stall next to cafe. Blimey. So the boot sale would have its own pin. So you would have to, yeah, I don't know how you would implement that. It would have to be within the boot sale pin. There would be a promote your stall. And then that could come as a pop-up. Or it could come as a notification to someone who, I don't know. I don't know how that would work, but I like it. I like your thinking. This is the thing, that there's so much we could add. And you have to really be on top of this feature creep thing. Work out what is necessary to get something out there that's useful and working, and then add things in. And the things that are added in need to benefit everybody and not clutter it up. Yeah, it's a balancing act. Okay. What's that? Did you bid on the other lot of Erasure paperwork? I did, but I was particularly keen on this one. And I wasn't really sure what they were. I don't know if you've seen the actual listings, but it was just one picture of a pile of papers. If I'd have known how good they were, I would have bought the other one. Totally. The other one was just an album track. I think it was Miracle. The one I bought, as you may have seen, was for Always, one of my favorite tracks of all time. It's incredible that I own that now. Pete, how chuffed will you be, Nick, when someone who uses the app comes back to you and says, thanks to your app, I secured this load of stock? That would be amazing. Yeah, that would be so cool. And we hope to be able to do things like have hashtags for the app, so people can share, look what I found using hashtag Thrift Map on social media, so people can find the app, find links to the app, or gain awareness of the app through people sharing what they've found. But yeah, it would be great. It would be great to just have it ready and launched, right? Matthew, you forgot to mention in your haul video, the greatest haul, the Scotch tape. I did, yeah. How did you do with them? Very well. They were surprisingly valuable. But the funny thing about that is the video did better than the stock, because that video gained a life of its own and has now had, I couldn't even tell you, 300,000 or 400,000 views. The video made way more than the stock. But we were selling, I think I sold the little tape refills at three of them, was it? For, oh my God, it's so long ago. Was it a tenner? Maybe? I don't know. Can't remember. Why not charge for exclusive advertising for the charities or regular car boot sales? Yes. And again, down the line, the app is nothing without a user base. So our focus has to be getting an app that's helpful, that works, that people enjoy using, people get benefit from, and then we can build it up. Once we have a user base, we can then go to charities and say, hi, Cancer Research, we have all 300 odd of your stores in our app. We have X amount of users. Do you want to work with us? And we can throw notifications out to our users that you are having an app exclusive offer running. That's what we'd like to be able to do. So whenever you're out and about, you could look at offers, and there could be an exclusive 20% off on a Wednesday for Cancer Research, for example, right? So yes, we thought about that, and we would love to work direct with the charity shops and just help get people through their doors, and they could lead us on what sort of promotions they want to run. And as long as I think it's like an app exclusive, we would happily implement whatever they wanted. You know, donate a bag full of stuff today at British Heart Foundation and get money off, or something like that, right? Who knows what the future brings, but we can't lose sight of the basics. We need to get something out there. We need to get people on it. We need to find out what works, what doesn't, and then build incrementally from that. Belinda, I left a comment regarding the erasure find. I had a 717 to-do list. I think I read your comment. Yeah, didn't you say you'd lost it? It's a shame. Martin Ware is an incredible producer. I know, Dave. With hindsight, I'd have done lots of things differently, but that's how it is, you know. There's no way of going back and starting again and doing things differently, you know, when you're so far down a road. But yeah, we could and should have done it differently and got version 1, the bare bones, out, and then started adding to it. But it is how it is. It is, you know. Is it working now? Yes. We have had it working for quite some time. We have been tweaking and ironing out issues. That sounds like a small job. I wish it was. Yes, but it works, yes. Have you ever had a similar haul from a supermarket like the Scotch tape haul? Yes. Yes, many on and off over the years. Thank you, Andy. I just really hope that everybody jumps on and has a go, you know. I would like to kind of limit expectations. Those that have seen it were really impressed and loved it, which was fantastic. But know that all apps, I mean, look back to the, you know, Facebook, etc. It's a case of learning on the job with an app. So once we launch, it's kind of, that's where the real work begins, you know, making it function, finding out what we don't know. So I just hope that people will understand that it will be a work in progress. but with everybody's help, feeding back issues, we can get on top of that stuff. The main thing I'm going to really need, I don't like to ask for help, but I'm just going to need people to use it, you know. Set up a yard sale event, even if you just have one, because we now have, let me talk about this for a minute. We had lots of different parameters set up as to what qualified an event within the app. We've now kind of removed those tentatively for launch. So if you just want one yard sale, you just want to do it, you don't want to run an event, you just want to sell some stuff outside your house, you can now do that within the app. And there's now a switch where you make it private, as in it will still show publicly that you are having one yard sale outside your door, but nobody else can come in, click on your event and add themselves to it down the road. So the flexibility we've implemented is great. So you can use it how you want to, but that's what I would really ask people is, if they're excited about this, once we launch, use it. Be the guy in your or the girl in your area who sets up yard sales. There's no limit on that. You can have one in your village this week, one in the next village the week after, one in the town down the road the week after that. That would be what I would hope people would try and do. I think it's on version 22. That's pretty close, but only Nick has had access to all the versions. Yeah. I think the chat may have jumped. Oh, no. Will you be providing leaflets to the reseller community to leave at their Boots charity shops? Maybe an idea to promote. Yes, we've talked about that. What I think we're going to do once we have it on the slightly tricky one, in that if we launch Android first and don't have an Apple link, it's going to be a bit weird, because what we want is a little like business card thing that I can send out to trusted people, that they can, when they meet someone who's a reseller and they talk about the app, you can just give them a card with a QR code on the back for Apple and Android. But you see, there's that kind of gray area of time when we might have it only running on one and not the other. So I may do the same thing, but have a link to our website where there will be download links, or just link if we only have it on Android. But yes, going back to that, we have thought about this, and we would love to send out business cards that you can hand out to people and say, look, here's what it is. Use that QR code, bish bash bosh, download it. And also, for when you set up an event, you can put posters up locally in your local post office or on Facebook, and there will be a QR code available, or a pair that you can put on any of your promotions and say, I'm setting up an event. All you need to do is download this free app. Here's a QR code. Find the event on the map. Anyone can do that. Click on it and add your stall. Job done. Or just click on it and navigate around the event on the day. Is it called Thrift Map? Yes, it is. Not showing up on my Android Play Store. That's because it's not on there. I'm not saying it's available to download yet. We let people at the meetup get hands-on with it, but it is, we haven't gone through all of Google's jumping through hoops yet. But that is how you will download it once it is on there. And yes, it is called Thrift Map, but you won't find it on there yet. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Derek. Andy says, every day is a school day, Nick. I am sure that with all the help that you will receive from new users, I have lots of people ready for when this launches to use the app and test the system for you. Fabulous. Yeah, it's going to be quite a thing when we launch. I'm going to be excited and scared in equal measure, you know, about how it holds up, how it doesn't hold up. You just have to be brave with this sort of stuff. I mean, taking this on in the first place was a big deal. Now we're at the point where we've got a product that we're trying to, as soon as we can, get launched. It makes you very nervous. We've invested a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into a thing that we hope people will use and we hope will work. So yeah, it's going to be nerve-wracking, but thank you for that. I love the fact that, you know, people are behind us and willing us to succeed. It's awesome. You might want to change the website logo from the default WordPress logo. That should have all of our Thrift Map logos on it. Okay, I'll check that out later. Don't forget us when you're being interviewed on BBC 5 Live. Imagine going on radio. Hi, I built an app. What does it do? Ahoy! Chatting to people on the radio. But I'd love that. Honestly, if we can get a product that I'm happy with and people are using and it's helpful, I will talk to anybody about it. I'm going to need to, right, to get the word out there. Hello, David M. Good to see you. Currently, we're not using the app to receive feedback. We're going to use the Facebook page, which is a group that you can join. Link for that, I think I put below. I hope I did. Yeah, so we're going to, and this channel will be a good place. We'll do regular lives like this and just say, how are you getting on with it? Is it working? What needs urgently to be changed? What would you prefer to see? That sort of immediate feedback. I can get one-on-one in here with questions. So there we go. Right, how long have I been on here? I've been on here nearly an hour. How has that happened? Oh, George has just popped in. Hello, George. Evening. My order of pens and whales arrived safely. Pens and whales. Thank you for the order. The app sounds exciting. Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm going to wrap up soon. I just wanted to touch base. I'm very aware that there are long periods of silence where I don't update on what's going on. Just know that we are working as fast as we can to get this thing over the line. With essentially two of us working in spare time. You've seen how busy I've been recently. It's difficult. Now things have calmed down. We were doing up to 90 orders a day with the new hall. That's calmed right down now. So in a sense, that's good because I can now give my focus to other things. But rest assured, it's happening. When it comes out, I wish I could say. But yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you so much for being part of this. When we do launch, I'm going to need everybody to have a look at it, have a play around with it, set up a yard sale, add a few charity shops, whatever it is, and then feedback if it's broken. Oh, hi, Richard. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Yeah, by all means, watch back. Right, I'm going to wrap up. Please, is the link below for the Facebook group? If you search Thrift Map within Facebook, I'm sure the group will come up. Add yourselves on there. That's another good place to keep up to date. Once we get nearer to launch, we'll be able to keep you up to date with all of that. Yeah, exactly. And you've got nothing to lose because it won't cost you anything. Quick one before we go, I'll end on this. So let's say, like Derek, you think, I'm going to have a go, right? I'm going to be that person and actually put my money where my mouth is and organize an event. Super easy in the app. Set up your time, pin a pin roughly at the center of the area you want it to be. And that's it. But then you will have to promote it a bit locally, set up a Facebook group, talk about it in local, what's going on Facebook groups, put up a few posters locally or whatever. And then people, if you direct people to the app, they'll find your pin and there will be an add my stall button and they will add their stalls. Simples, hopefully. But it's just about getting people on there and getting people used to using it. The other thing we want to do once we launch, I can make simple little videos about how to use the app. How do you create an event? And we'll just show a little phone on a screen, show me like the 10 clicks or whatever it is to create an app. Create an app. I wish. Create an event. How do I add my stall? Find the pin. Add my stall. Yeah. Let's read a couple more before we go. Feedback for the app can also be left as a review on the App Store after the app has been launched. It's important to keep an eye on these so the developer can respond to any problems users are having. That's a really good thought. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Yes, there is a link for Facebook. Okay, if you're not already in there, please go over and say hello. I think I have to approve people, so there might be a short delay. And then if you've got any further questions, you can pop them in there. I need to go and eat. And then I need to sit down. It's been a hellish day of tech hating me to a point where I couldn't even have a running version of the app to show you right now. Yeah, fail. Okay. Thank you for joining me, everybody. I probably don't say it enough. I appreciate everybody's patience with this. I appreciate everybody wanting this to succeed, and once we get it out there, we can all work on this together and make it something worth having. That's the idea. Right, I'm going to go. Take care. We'll do another one of these soon. Yeah, speak to you soon, guys. Bye.